Hi all, this game is a rest of the world game versus the 17th ICCF World Champion Ivar Bern, which was played recently on chessworld.net. This is a team consultation game where, as a team, you just make a move which counts as a vote, and at the end of the time limit, the highest voted move actually gets played. There's a discussion forum. The discussions can be really lively sometimes to find the next best move. We were black. Ivar Bern is one of the strongest over-the-board Correspondence World Champions who carries an IM title. So he was the 17th ICCF World Champion. So with white he played D4. And we tried to play solidly here. We played Nxf3, but not with the idea of a King's Engine, but actually a Nimzo engine now with E6. Now there's a recent trend of avoiding the Nimzo, and Bern carried this on with playing Knight F3, which forces us to play a Queen's Engine, which is slightly less comfortable and fun to play. But we had to play solidly here. We played B6, and out after G3 we played Bishop A6, which has the idea of slightly weakening white's queenside pawn structure. But also, now after B3 we played D5 here. There's a lot of tactical ideas in this variation, which are very interesting. Bern simply played Bishop G2, and now we played Bishop B4 check. Now a slightly controversial moment here after Bishop D2, we took on D2, which slightly weakened our dark squares. In particular, you know, like E5, for example, could be significantly weak later. Perhaps we could have considered a bishop retreat here to E7, because it wouldn't be losing a tempo completely, because we've sort of misplaced this bishop. But anyway, we took on D2, so we felt some pressure now on the dark squares later. But we reinforced the centre with C6 now. Now castles, Rook C1. So Bern's got a slight edge here, which is all he probably wanted out of the opening. And now he plays, this is quite a sneaky move, because from here the queen's quite well placed to support a knight outpost on E5, but also a later B4 as the game showed. So after we played C5, knight D2, bishop B7, Bern now plays B4, so he's really exploiting this queen, which is interestingly placed, to try and, you know, increase his slight edge. I think at this point we only had one reference game to go by, which was a draw. But it might have been from over the board as well. So, you know, I think white did have a small advantage, but was it enough to win? That's the key question. Here we faced a major point in the game after knight E5. D takes at E5, because we're going to be left with a controversial isolated pawn. So our choice was either to play more passively with knight D7 or play knight G4, which is more adventurous, with the idea of what we did was F6. We played more adventurously here, so we bravely played knight G4. We ended up here with, after Queen B2, F6, we accepted an isolated pawn concession, but it wasn't too bad because we've achieved a lot of simplification here. And you know, if it's not going to be exploitable, that isolated pawn in the ending or whatever, then if we can draw, we can draw. So here we further just simplified the position, the only major open file. So this queen and knight ending is quite interesting. So Bern carries on the pressure with queen at A3, so attacking A7, also threatening to infiltrate on the dark squares. So here we counter-attacked, not worrying about even going into a further ending, just the knight ending here. So H6, it looks a bit scary, but we've got queen E8. So we've simplified into a knight and pawn ending with the isolated pawn. Now potentially, if white's king, you know, got to D4, it would seem as though this might be a good advantage. But actually, it's easy to draw. It's relatively easy to draw with precise moves by black. So we got our king aggressively in the centre. So the isolated pawn advantage is minimised. And now this G4 clamping down the H and F pawns. And this is quite interesting. We infiltrated with our king on the king side here, but losing our D5 and potentially B6 pawns, because this is just simplifying it to a table-based draw now coming up. And here Bern offers a draw, and the team accepted. So it was the first draw that the chessboard teams had in a rest of the world game format, with a very high-profile ICCF world champion who also carries the international master title in over-the-board chess. So congratulations to the chessboard.net team